Hey everyone, Aaron here, Fast Forward Race Cars. Hey, this week's video is going to be on the 71 El Camino. This is actually my personal El Camino, and we did a short video doing a burnout on it in the car, and I was getting quite a bit of messaging about it, asking questions about it, so I figured this week we'll do a video on it, and this is it. So the backstory behind this thing is, actually back in the 80s, late 80s, I had one just like this. It was black on black, just like this, and I built a big black Chevy. It was actually 1989, and I had this thing. Again, I built a big black Chevy for it. It looked just like this. It had a cover on it just like this, except it had different wheels on it. And I'll actually show you a picture of that car later here in this video. But anyways, so I ended up selling that car so me and my wife could get our first house for the down payment. And I ended up selling in 1990. And here now, 33, 34 years later, I got me another one, and I always knew I would get one. And sure enough, about 2 years ago, it was Thanksgiving weekend. We just got done eating dinner, and everything was cleaned up, and I'm laying on the couch, and I'm just chilling, and I get on Marketplace, and I just start looking around, looking for stuff like I always do, and I seen this thing pop up. It was actually in Ohio, and so I'm like, man, that looks just like my old El Camino. So I messaged the guy, and we're going back and forth, and I really didn't want it. He had it was a running El Camino, but I didn't want his engine, and he had a small block in it, pretty healthy small block. But my old El Camino had a big block in it, and I wanted a big block in it. So we're going back and forth. I worked a deal with him to buy it without the engine, basically just a rolling chassis. So we worked a deal with the phone. The very next day, I hooked up my trailer, and I headed out like 4 in the morning by myself, drove all the way to Ohio, saw the car, looked at it, was everything he said it was, and he ended up yanking the motor. I helped him do it. We yanked the motor out right then and there. And then we loaded up, paid him, and I headed back. After that, it sat for a little bit, a few months, because we were so busy here at the shop, I didn't have no time to work on it. But in the meantime, while the car was sitting, I started building a new engine for this thing. And what I ended up building was a 468 cubic inch big block Chevy. It's a pump gas motor. Pretty rowdy engine. It has 063 GM heads on it, which I ported here in the house, and port matched the intake, which actually I have a video of port matching intake, and we'll share a link to that on this video. But custom cam that I had ground for this, only 600 lift, and you can drive this car anywhere. I mean, literally, you could drive it, a couple states away, no problem. I put a 700 R4 transmission in it, so it has overdrive, and just has a 2800 stall converter in it. But literally, you can drive this thing anywhere. But anyways, when we started working on the car, when we had some time to bring it in, me and Marty here at the shop, we took the whole front end off, and Marty painted the frame, painted the firewall. We took all the suspension off, and I put all new suspension on it. And then after Marty painted that stuff, we put the engine in together, the transmission, and then we buttoned up all the front. We cleaned up wiring and the hoses, things like that. Just fixed all the little things that we like to do here at the shop. Okay, then we had this tonneau cover put on, and this was exactly like I had it done back in the late 80s. I had this tonneau cover just like this, flat just like that. And that was important to me to have that done, so it gave this car the look of my other car. And then the next thing we had done, we had the paint wet sand and buffed and ceramic coated, and it didn't look nothing like it looks now. I mean, it's really popping now. The guys that did the work, they did awesome job on that. And then it had the vinyl roof on it. We didn't do anything other than just clean up the vinyl roof. And then the next thing we did was the tints. The tinted windows my son did, and this is exactly what he does for a living, and the tints are perfect on it. The back window is darker than the sides. They look the same, but it's actually, the back window is darker. And this is exactly how I had it back in the late 80s. It's got 275 ET Street radial tires on it. Fit pretty tight in there. 373 gear in the rear end. So with this gear ratio, And the first gear ratio on the 700R4, man, this has got a nice first gear ratio, so this thing does nice burnouts, which you guys will see here in a bit. The next thing we did was we attacked the interior on this thing. It had some decent carpet in it when we got it, but I just, it was cheap enough just to rip it out. We started over, and it had some bucket seats in it before, some like racing buckets with a racing shifter, and I didn't want that look. So we ended up finding these Chevelle seats, and they were already reupholstered, and then I ended up finding the console too. So we put these new carpet, new seats, the console, and the shifter, and we ended up painting the steering wheel too. The steering wheel was actually billet aluminum, and in my opinion, I don't like billet aluminum on these types of cars. That's just me. So I sanded the steering wheel and painted it black. Cleaned up the door panels, didn't have to do anything with that. The headliner was already done. One thing I am gonna do that I haven't done yet, and it's something that I did do on my other El Camino, I'm gonna put a nice stereo system in it and an amp. And on my other one, I made a panel on the back here behind the seats, and I had the amp back there and some 2 6x9s, and then I covered it with some vinyl, and it looks really, really sharp. I just haven't had the time to do that, but that's the next thing. That's really almost the only thing I need to really do to finish up this project is that. Other than that, in my opinion, it's done. Everything works on it. Heater, it doesn't have AC, and my other one didn't have AC either. But all the lights work, everything works. And like I said, you could take this car and you can drive it 500 miles, not have a problem. And here's the engine. 468 cubic inch big block Chevy. We built this engine right here in-house. It has 063 GM iron heads on it that I personally ported myself. And then I also port matched the intake. And we actually have a video that we will link to this one of me showing you guys how to port match intake manifolds, but you'll see how I did this. The cam in it is a 600 lift cam, nothing radical. It has some roller rockers on it, and it just has a nice stout bottom end, but it's just a pump gas engine, but it makes 600 horsepower. And the camshaft, I have custom ground. All my cams are custom. But this is exactly what we do in-house here. We build engines like this, and we build cars like this. We don't only build race cars, although we build a lot of, high-end badass race cars. We do street cars like this as well. And we have a passion for that. And so if you guys, you want something like this, we can build you one. And if you look back on some of our videos, you'll see some big block Chevys that we have videos dynoing. 468 cubic inch. I think I have a couple 496 pump gas motors on videos on our page as well. And when we bought this car, it came actually with these wheels and tires. Now my other El Camino had a different set of wheels and tires, and although I wanted the El Camino to look just like that one, I actually liked the way these look, so I ended up keeping them. Skinnies in the front, and then it has 275 VT Street radials in the back. And so again, I just decided to keep them. I think they fit this El Camino pretty good. They're just Jegs wheels, but they're pretty nice wheels and tires. Also too, I replaced all the braking system on it. The booster, master cylinder, calipers, rotors, the whole deal is all new. I kept the drum brakes on the back, but it's all new. We redid all the brake lines, so the complete brake system is new on here. We modified the exhaust. It came with exhaust. It has Flowmaster mufflers. I modified it to fit the big block Chevy headers. And as far as exhaust goes, I didn't change that. It's what it came with. The only other thing underneath I did was put a new gas tank and sending unit. And other than that, this is exactly how I got it. So we're at the back of the El Camino now, and the only thing that's going to be different about this car than my other one is on my other one, and guys that know me and my friends from high school and people that knew me early on that will watch this video will know this. My other one, I had airbrushed on the back, "Bad boys drive bad toys," and I didn't do that on this one. I might, I haven't decided, but if I do, maybe I'll put like the Roman numeral 2. We'll see, You know, I was young when I did that, so that you know, that was good for that area. But yeah, I don't know if I'll do that now. But that's pretty much the only thing that is left that I didn't do to really make this like my old one. One last thing I want to mention about this this paint job on this car. The guy that painted it, man, he did a pretty good job, and I'll tell you why. Because this thing was painted in a garage, and you wouldn't suspect a paint job like this would have came out of the garage that he was doing it in. He didn't have a paint booth. I mean, he was painting cars in there, and you know, it's not mint paint job, but for a black paint job, it's pretty good. And one thing I want to show you guys, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera, but it has ghost stripes in here, which has some slight metallic into the stripes, so when the sun hits it, they really pop. But nice little touch that he did. And I was gonna put white stripes on there, but I opted to just keep that. So I thought that was a nice touch. So here's a picture of my old El Camino, man, and I have it right here next to my desk so I can see it on a daily basis, because without selling this El Camino, I probably couldn't even have started this business. So this reminds me where I started, and there I am, 20-year-old. I got the porn stash going on, look at me. And I got my best friend over in the passenger seat, Mike Williams, man. We were going down to the Street Machine Nationals, 1990 right there. I don't know if you can see it, but 1990 Street Machine Nationals. And we had a blast that weekend. And if you look at the back tire, a little story about that, there's that white ring around it. Back then I used to have air shocks on the back of that thing, and we would never do that to this day. But we had some coolers all packed into the back of that El Camino, and one of the air shocks broke, and it came down, and then the chrome trim was rubbing on the tire, and it wore a groove in it just like that. And I remember we were broke down, and while I was taking off the shocks, my buddy Mike, he ran for, I must have been like 3 miles, maybe more, to the closest auto parts store, and he bought the shocks, new air shocks. He ran all the way back, I put them on, and then we hit the road again, man. And we were doing, you know, being foolish kids, we were doing over 100 all the way down. We were going down Route 57, I remember. 100 miles an hour, all the way down the Street Machine Nationals. But that was a fun weekend. But that's it, man. The only other thing I noticed on this picture that's different about mine is that I had the trim here on this one. And I don't have it on that one. I don't think I'll put it on, but, and I don't have the emblems. I do have the emblem for the cowl induction, but I haven't put it on yet. But other than that, yeah, that's the car, man. And that's me, 20-year-old punk, building cars. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the walk around on this this El Camino, 1971 El Camino. And now you guys know why I have this and why I wanted it. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take it out for a little drive. We're gonna take you guys with, and I'm gonna show you what this 468 big block Chevy can do. Again, pump gas, 600 horsepower, you can drive it anywhere. Let's take a ride. Messaged me. There's a car show close to my shop, so we thought we'd take a ride down there and check it out. take a ride and see. We're here at the car show, AutoZone, Naperville.
There you guys go,
buddy.
man.
Hey, thanks.
No worries, no worries. He's telling you to stop.
I don't know. Yeah, I know. You caught me. You caught me. Drag right here. Three Lego by the way. Where is that going on Ogden and 59? Oh yeah, the parking lot. So that's it, everyone. 1971 El Camino. I hope you guys liked the video. If you guys like videos like this, we'll do more of them. Just let me know in the comments. We got a few other cars we can do like this as well. But yeah, that's it, man. 468 cubic inch big block Chevy, 600 horsepower. You can see what it can do. Thanks again. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.